Bro, you're going away for a long-ass time. Financial scams like Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes are nothing new. They're not scams. If you're at the top or the starter of it, Kevin. Kevin wrote today's script. I'm just reading it. Sign up to my Ponzi scheme below. And you'd think that by now the average person would know better than to fall for them. Of course, I'm not proud to admit that I once fell for a pyramid scheme. Oh, really? I've never been in a pyramid scheme. If I was in a pyramid scheme, I'd be at the goddamn tip of the pyramid, Kev. Fortunately, the stakes were low because I was only 6 or 7 years old at the time, so it's not like I had a lot of money to lose in the first place. The pyramid scheme was presented to me in the form of a chain letter that said you were supposed to give $1 to whoever gave the letter to you and then pass that letter on to 10 other people. Each person was also supposed to pass on some of their earnings up the chain somehow, but this was over 30 years ago, so it's not like I remember all of the details. Wow, this is like classic. Who started this? Whoever started this at your school, Kevster, should be on a list, dude. It's like Bernie Madoff Jr. I was very excited about this potential financial windfall, so after relinquishing my $1, I showed the letter to my father. He in turn explained to me what a pyramid scheme is and why they don't work, and he gave me the valuable advice that anytime someone says they will pay you money, but you have to give them money first, that's a scam.
First, let me assure you that this is not one of those shady pyramid schemes you've been hearing about. No, sir. Our model is the trapezoid.
I'm glad it happened, though, because clearly that lesson has stuck with me, and it only cost me $1, whereas the same lesson has cost others their life savings. Pyramid schemes are usually much easier to identify than Ponzi schemes, because it will be an organization of people seeking money in exchange for absolutely nothing. There are no products or services being offered, and it's generally explained upfront that it's supposed to be a free money machine. If anyone's like free money machine, just don't do it. If anyone's like this will make you a fortune, it's like, well, why aren't you doing it yourself then? Why are you selling it to me, you idiot? That's because it's a scam. Scam. It's a scam. Of course, because the pyramid model is so obviously unsustainable thanks to the power of exponential growth, these often utilize more complex structures like the airplane game or the blessing loom. What the fuck are these? I feel like I know a lot about Ponzi schemes after making so many videos about con men, but I've never heard of these two. It's exciting to learn something new, isn't it? But no matter how convoluted or attractive a system may be, it's always very much an unsustainable scam that will result in a number of people losing a lot of money. Ponzi schemes, on the other hand, masquerade as legitimate investment opportunities. People are promised guaranteed high returns on investments into stocks or goods, and money from new investors is used to pay off the initial investors. By actually paying out money, it makes the whole thing seem legitimate and provides leverage for the scammer to convince people to keep their money invested. Sure, you could pull out now if you really wanted, but why not just leave your money in longer and let it keep earning that same amazing return until you're so rich you could retire on an island somewhere? The general rule, right, is if it's over 10%, don't believe it. If someone's like, I can make you more than 10% a year return, just don't do it. Because there's a catch. And then the catch might be that it's a scam. And I totally understand that logic, because pulling out early has never been my style. Kevin, why? Oh, why do I have that image now?
It's in my brain now.
Besides, whoever is running the Ponzi scheme will now be able to point at high-performing stocks or other investments and claim that your money is parked in them as a proof that it's doing really well. Realistically, though, these scams should be easy to identify as well because they'll often offer unrealistic returns, like guaranteed 50% income over 6 months with zero risk. Bro, if it's over 10% a year with risk, it's still probably a scam, dude. Nobody in the world can offer returns like that unless they literally have the ability to print money, and doing so would result in hyperinflation that would devalue that income anyway. But because there will be happy customers who saw those impossible gains realized, it becomes a lot easier to convince people to buy into your fraudulent investments. I mean, just ask Bernie! But now that we've covered the backstory on how these scams work, in case there was anyone watching who didn't know, it's time to look at some of history's most insane Ponzi schemes.
What the hell's he doing?
Yo, ChatGPT, what's up?
Oh, I should have known.
So, Ponzi schemes, right? What's the loom version? The gifting loom, or whatever it's called, version of a Ponzi scheme?
Hey, Simon. Oh yeah, the gifting loom or blessing loom is basically a modern twist on the classic Ponzi scheme. It works by promising participants a big payout if they recruit more people into the circle. The structure looks like a wheel or a flower, with one person in the center and others around them.
How do I start one of these?
Gift money to the person in the center.
Oh no, why is it? Oh no! 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 I had the advanced voice chat the other day. I need to use my favorite... hold on, we'll connect to Phoenix. I had to try so many different Surfshark VPN servers to find one that works with ChatGPT to give me the advanced voice mode. Come on. Oh, don't do it. It knows. It knows. Oh, no, it knows. I was so happy with advanced voice mode. No. Oh, no. How am I supposed to go back to not being able to talk to ChatGPT?
It's a first world problem.
Oh, wait. Has it worked? Yes! I just needed to close the app and open it again.
One eternity later.
Work. Work. I'm in Phoenix. You know I'm in Phoenix. You can see it from my IP. I'm definitely in Phoenix. Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, come on. It's just doing nothing. Please. I want to know how to start the Blessing Loom Mill. Or whatever. Lou Pearlman. Lou Pearlman was born and raised in New York City. He fell in love with blimps and planes as a child, and unlike most kids who have a different dream every few months, that passion stuck with him into adulthood. Yeah, my daughter currently wants to be a hairdressing artist. I don't know if that's a realistic career path for her. It's like, chop, chop, chop. I guess hairdressers can be artists if you're like a really good-ass hairdresser. In the late 1970s, when Pearlman was in his 20s, he started a company called Airship Enterprises Limited. This was going to be a blimp company that other companies could hire for advertising, but there was just one problem. He didn't have a blimp. Not deterred by what others would see as a major setback, Pearlman leased his non-existent blimp to Jordache for an advertising campaign. He then used that money they paid him to build a blimp, and on October the 8th, 1980, his blimp set forth on his maiden voyage. Now, I don't know about, like, whether that's legal or not. I think it is legal. That's actually a really clever idea. Make sure you have a customer before you go and build a fuck-off blimp. Because otherwise, you go to the bank and it's like, yo, bank, give me $1 million and I'm going to go build a blimp and then see if anyone wants it. But by getting the customer and then using that money to build the blimp, as long as you do it by the time the contract's, starting, that's kind of clever. That's what I would do. Allegedly, if it's illegal. If it's not illegal, then I would do it. I'd do it anyway, allegedly. And on October the 8th, 1980, his blimp set forth on its maiden voyage. It then promptly crashed just 400 meters from the site of the Hindenburg crash. Boom, it's... Oh, the humanity! Because New Jersey just hates blimps, apparently. I made a thumbnail for a video about the Hindenburg this morning, about 10 minutes ago. How strange. Or because this blimp was shoddily built on a tight budget and limited timeline in order to keep their customer happy. Either way. This led to a legal battle between Pearlman and Jordache, as well as suspicions that he had committed insurance fraud. I don't understand exactly how this happened, but Pearlman won the lawsuit and was awarded $2.5 million in damages. Shit, he saved some of that money for a good-ass lawyer, didn't he? He then founded a new airship company, Airship International, and he immediately took his company public. Can you do that? I don't think you could do that. You gotta have, like, a track record and stuff. You can't just be like, and now my company is public. Doesn't work. Because, as it turns out, you can't have a blimp company without blimps, and the only one he owned had already crashed. However, his investors still had confidence in the business venture because Pearlman had partnered with Theodor Wollenkemper, a German pilot and entrepreneur who had launched his own blimp advertising company in Germany in the 1970s. That's what he told his investors anyway, but it was a total and complete lie. Regardless, thanks to Wollenkemper's name recognition, Pearlman was able to raise $3 million. And this was in the 70s. There's a lot more money today. I would guess that's like 20, 25 mil. He needed to buy a blimp and actually get his company going. His first client was McDonald's, followed by MetLife and SeaWorld. Holy shit, you started at the top, didn't you? God damn! When the company relocated to Florida. These are some really big companies, or at least they were in the 1991 when Pearlman landed the additional contracts. Obviously, McDonald's is still huge, but I don't remember the last time I saw a commercial for MetLife. The only thing I know about MetLife is it Grand Theft Auto 4? Grand Theft Auto 4, I think, where they have the Get a Life building, which is based on the MetLife building. That's the only reason I know anything about MetLife. I assume it's a life insurance company, but I really don't know. And I'm pretty sure everybody stopped caring about SeaWorld after the release of Free Willy 4, Willy's Revenge. Is that a real movie? Oh, Willy would get his fucking revenge on SeaWorld. He'd be like, fuck you. Unfortunately, Pearlman wound up losing one of those clients and crashing 3 of his blimps. Airship International was losing millions of dollars each year, not that Pearlman needed to care, since the company had been a classic pump and dump scheme. After getting the cash influx from everyone's initial investment, the stock was pumped all the way to $6 per share. This let Pearlman sell hundreds of thousands of shares at an inflated price before the pump and dump ended and the price collapsed to just 3 cents per share. This is what happens with those crypto bros, right? Where they're like, yeah, to the moon, baby! And then the people who started it sell out and get rich and everyone else loses their savings. Not cool, guys. Not cool.
Uncool.
But Pearlman didn't need Airship International anymore because there were other companies he had founded back in the 1980s, Transcontinental Airlines and Transcon Records. Did he really call it Transcon? Which were both owned by the parent company Transcontinental International Inc. Transcon Airlines was a charter plane service, and it was on one of those chartered flights that he met the band New Kids on the Block. Wait, this really existed? This was a real business? That's cool. During the flight, he wound up speaking to the band's manager, who said they did $200 million in album sales and $800 in concert. I'm assuming that's $1 million and $800 million in concert tickets and merch sales the previous year. So if they just did $800 in merch sales, I do more merch sales than that. Definitely less than a year, bro. At which point, it's 800 million, and I don't do that much. That'd be cool, though. At which point, Pearlman realized he was in the wrong industry. So at this point, I realize I'm in the wrong industry. I should start a band. Or really, you should just be a merch company. At the very least, that's the story he always told, but I have to question the veracity of those claims. To start, he already owned a record company, so it sounds like he was in the right business. More importantly, though, all of those Transcon companies only existed on paper. He had falsified documents showing that people's investments in the company were secured by the FDIC, and he used falsified financial statements from a non-existing accounting firm to get bank loans to help support his fake companies. Dude, shit was wild before the internet, because you could be like, yes, the International Bank of Phoenix has granted me all of these. What was it? Oh no, it's an accounting company. Just made up Whistler and Whistler Associates has granted me, as said my accountant, top notch, look at all this paperwork, and no one can Google anything. So they're just like, and here is your money, sir. As such, since it certainly seems like there never were any charter planes, he probably just read an article in a magazine about New Kids on the Block and decided that it was a great way to make money, with the story about meeting the New Kids on one of his planes just being one of the many lies that he told. In 1992, utilizing all of the money he had made from investors into his fake businesses, Pearlman spent $3 million on a talent search to put together a boy band with a New Kids on the Block look and a Boys to Men sound. The search culminated with him signing 5 completely unknown singers who he called the Backstreet Boys. No fucking way, dude. No way. So yeah, oh my god, I've heard of Lou Pearlman. Oh my god, is this his backstory? That's insane, dude. So yes, his plan actually worked and he pulled it off a second time by creating NSYNC. No fucking shot. That's incredible. With all the... damn, way to go, Lou. With all the money you made from creating and financing 2 of the biggest bands from the 1990s, it would be super easy for you to pay back all your investors, barely an inconvenience. Wait, why are you handing all your business associates your business card for Transcontinental Airlines and asking them to invest? Damn it, Lou, you had a way out. Wait, he really carried on even after he created fucking Backstreet Boys and NSYNC? Alright, I forgot how greed works, I guess. Yeah, it's true. People are greedy. You know, it just happens. You get more and then you want more. It is what it is. It's, I don't know, the greed that capitalism has burned into us since being children. Oh, right, I forgot I already read that already. Oh, yes, Pearlman went on to sign a bunch of other bands and make tons of money, and in between family, friends, business associates, and others, he got over 1,700 people to invest in his fake companies to the tune of an estimated $500 million or more. Bro, why do you have to do crimes? It would be like, oh, yeah, no, I'm pretty well off now, you know, I'm doing all right. I'm doing a bit all right. And it'd be like, you know what I'm going to get into? Drug dealing. Why? It's like, sure, maybe drug dealing makes lots of money, but it's like, I already have money. Why do I need to take risks? It's crazy. He had paid off his earliest investors with the money from later investors, but it seems like he stopped doing that entirely and just pocketed everything between complaints from investors and some irregularities in the financial statements, which I suppose are only to be expected when you're just pulling numbers out of your bottom. Florida state regulators began auditing the company. By early 2007, regulators had finally uncovered the full extent of what they discovered was the longest-running Ponzi scheme in American history. I mean, fuck you, Bernie. Or at least that's what they thought until the following year when, Bernie Madoff told Pearlman to hold his beer. There's our man. He made off with all the money, didn't he? Hey, didn't he? He's in prison. And they took all the money away. But he lived a good-ass life while he had it. Pearlman fled the country and was chased all over the world until a couple of German tourists visiting Bali happened to recognize Pearlman and turn him in. He was ultimately charged with and pled guilty to conspiracy, money laundering, and filing false bankruptcy. Bro, if you're choosing to flee to somewhere like Bali, why the fuck wouldn't you go to somewhere where there's not an extradition policy? Like, what the fuck? For his decades of remorselessly defrauding people out of hundreds of millions of dollars, he was sentenced to 25 years in prison. But because America has a two-tier justice system, one for rich people and one for poor people, as it should be, Pearlman was told that he could take a month off his sentence for every $1 million he helped the bankruptcy trustee to recover. Bro, he's got like 500 million. He's going to be like, cool, here's 25 million, see you later. Back to Bali, baby. So basically, he could either give back, a month off his sentence. I'm sorry, I thought it was a year off his sentence. Or he could just give back $300 million of the money he stole and pretend none of this ever happened, even though that was only like half of what it's estimated his Ponzi scheme took from people. God damn. Lou Pearlman been saving up for those kick-ass lawyers this whole time. Holy shit. Whoever his lawyers are, if I ever get in trouble for my Ponzi scheme, whoever you are, lawyers, you're my dudes. Sign up for my Ponzi scheme below. Obviously, the money was gone, though, so Pearlman died in prison in 2016 at the age of 62. It was. Why did he keep some of the fucking money? Bro, what are you doing? It doesn't seem like he found any time for self-reflection or personal growth during his 8 years in prison, though. In an interview given shortly before his death, Pearlman was asked about Bernie Madoff. Pearlman said, he was just a scamster. I don't think it was right what he did, but I had my way to make it all right. I just didn't have my chance to do it. I think I could have. If I was given another chance to put another band together, that would have paid everybody back. But I never had that opportunity, and that is what's very upsetting. Or how about, mate, you don't fucking scam people in the first place, you dick. That's a weird way to talk about a guy who committed literally the exact same crime as you, but whatever. And while I'm sure Pearlman thinks it's very upsetting that he wasn't given the opportunity to catch lightning in a bottle for a third time to pay back all of his victims, I'm sure his victims are much more upset that he didn't pay them back the first time. He struck it big and just lived the rest of his life as a successful businessman. Yeah, dude, it's like the drug dealing example. Why'd you do what? Fix your past mistakes. They'll be like, yo. You could have avoided all of this, my dude. What the fuck? You died in prison. Relatively young. Scott Rothstein. Many of you were probably aware of Lou Pearlman either because of his influence in the music industry or because of the Netflix docu-series about his crimes. But unless you're deeply entrenched in the world of Ponzi schemes, chances are you've never heard of Scott Rothstein. I feel like I've done lots of videos about Ponzi schemes. I've never heard of Scott Rothstein. I hadn't heard of Lou Pearlman until I was reminded who Lou Pearlman was, because I'm like, oh my god, it's that guy! Just like Pearlman, Rothstein was also born in New York City, more specifically the Bronx, but his family moved to Lauderhill, Florida when he was a teenager. And no, there's no need to check your calendars. Although the subjects of both of today's Ponzi schemes were Florida men, today is not Friday. Well, maybe it is for you, Simon. I don't know when you're recording this. No, it's Wednesday, Kevster. And actually, it's Friday for me right now while I'm writing this. But for those watching at home, today is some other day of the week. Thank you for the clarification. It's deeply appreciated. Anyway, in 1988, Rothstein got his Juris Doctor and joined the Florida bar. Then for the next 15 years, not much happened. He worked as a lawyer and was presumably pretty good at it since he worked his way up to being a named partner, but he was hardly a high-profile lawyer. Rothstein, was that his name? That is the most lawyery name that I've ever heard. Like Rothstein and Associates would be like, that sounds like a good-ass law firm. He was no Johnny Cochran, Gloria Allred, or Abraham Lincoln. Even if he wasn't famous, he was still successful enough that he and one of the other named partners, Stuart Rosenfeld, Rothstein and Rosenfeld, that sounds like a good-ass law firm, left to form their own law firm, Rothstein and Rosenfeld. Yes! They had a pretty impressive list of clients, including the likes of Citicorp, JCPenney, Wells Fargo, and National Beverage, famous for being the makers of Faygo. Don't know what Faygo is. They also make the Lacroix, Lacroix, French, and Shasta, but mainly Faygo, woo-woo. I get the feeling I'm missing something here, Kevster. Things were going great for Rothstein, but they could still be better, and by better, I mean way more illegal. Starting around 2005 or 2006, Rothstein began his Ponzi scheme, which, if I'm being honest, was kind of fucking brilliant. Oh, I like it when they're brilliant. I like that. I don't know if they have this in Europe, Simon, but in America, you always see commercials for companies that will buy your structured settlements. What the fuck is that? I don't know what that is. So he probably don't have companies that buy them. I also don't really watch advertising is not something I really see, like TV adverts. Of course I see like adverts like normal people on the web and like on billboards.
Bananas.
But I feel like I miss out on a lot of advertising because I don't watch TV like a normal person. I just use streaming services and I have Netflix Premium, so I don't see ads on there. If you are receiving something like an annuity as a payment in a lawsuit or from lottery winnings or whatever, oh, okay, so they buy the future annuity for a fixed fee today. So you get a lot of money today, and then they get the payout for the rest of the payout terms. Okay, I get it. I know what this is. There are companies that will purchase your structured settlement for some percentage of the total value. It's an easy way to make money so long as you have the cash on hand, and that's exactly what Rothstein was offering people.
I have a structured settlement and I need cash now.
Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now.
I still have no idea.
In his pitches to investors, he described his law firm as the preeminent sexual harassment law firm in the country. The way he described it even made him sound like a dick, too. Rothstein explained how he had a basic formula that someone worth $10 million would be willing to spend $2 million to pay off a mistress or victim of sexual harassment. They wouldn't want to pay that, obviously, but then he'd show a video of the person having sex with their mistress and explain that he could depose them, their wife, their kids, and their mistress, or they could all settle out of court and no one would have to know about it. Wait, is this a Ponzi scheme or is he just shaking people down? To be clear, I don't know if he ever actually did this or not. This was just the backstory he was giving to investors. In addition to the sexual harassment claims, there were also allegedly payouts to whistleblowers. And the best part for the investors was that the law firm already had all of the money. The settlements had been paid to them in a trust or something and were to be paid out in structured settlements, but Rothstein would let his investors buy those settlements instead. This is so clever. It's just complicated enough, and it's like a good backstory. So you'll be like, oh, I buy into that. And I see why other people are not investing in this. This is like one of those off-market deals where you're like, yeah, the reason it's above 10% a year is because it's kind of a little bit dirty. And the best part was there was zero risk because the law firm already had all the money. Other times he would claim that the defendant couldn't or wouldn't pay the entire settlement up front, and there was no structured settlement involved. In these cases, basically, they would give the plaintiff a smaller amount of money and the defendant would assign the settlement in the investor's name rather than the plaintiff's. They could buy a $3.5 million settlement for $3 million, and that was just $500,000 of free money as soon as the defendant paid up on the settlement. In these cases, Rothstein even said that the best part was that they always paid, and he had never once seen a defendant have to sue for breach of contract. After all, the whole point of these sexual harassment and whistleblower settlements was that they were supposed to be confidential, so if there was a lawsuit over failure to pay, then suddenly it would draw attention to the case and the cat would be out of the bag. Now this all probably sounds like a legal grey area. It definitely does. That's why I asked whether this was just a shakedown. And it did to the investors as well, but the business proposal still seemed to make logical sense. Plus, everyone knows that legal grey areas produce the best return on investment. Yes, a deal in those drugs! Of course, none of these settlements actually existed, and it was all just a Ponzi scheme using a lot of forged documents. That said, it was an extremely successful Ponzi scheme. In only about 4 years, Rothstein's scheme grossed about $1.2 billion, making it one of the largest Ponzi schemes in history. But then 2008 happened and the Great Recession fucked over everyone, even billionaire criminals. Oh no, not the billionaire criminals! Thanks to the recession, it became increasingly difficult to find new investors, and without new investors, there was no way to pay back the old investors. Despite its attempts to delay the inevitable, the entire thing started collapsing in on itself. By 2009, Rothstein knew he was fucked. With the FBI investigating, there was only one thing to do. You gotta flee, my dude! The time to flee is now. Something that Rothstein had fully prepared to do, he fled from Morocco. Yes, dude. I'm guessing Morocco doesn't have an extradition policy. Or didn't, I don't know if it does today. He fled to Morocco with $15 million in cash and luxury watches so that he could live a peaceful, luxurious life in a country with no extradition treaty. It's important! As soon as word broke that Rothstein was in Morocco, his investors knew that was the end of it. They were never going to see a penny of what they were owed. Or at least, that's what they thought. A few days later, for reasons I don't think have ever been explained, Rothstein flew back to the US, requested to be disbarred, and turned himself into the authorities. What? Bro, you got away with it, dude. You got away with it. Maybe Jiminy Cricket put a knife to his throat, or maybe he was afraid his conspirators and/or victims were going to find him and kill him. Totally possible. I really have no idea what his motivation was. He wound up pleading guilty and perhaps thought all of this would earn him a lighter sentence. Bro, you're going away for a long-ass time. However, a big part of his crime was falsifying court documents, including forging judges' signatures. Oh, it turns out that judges don't take kindly to crimes like that, and he was sentenced to 50 years! Bro, that's a lot. I didn't think it would be that high. And it did end there. Presumably in the hopes of getting his sentence reduced, Rothstein entered into witness protection and has possibly been the most cooperative witness of all time. He sang like a canary, turning on absolutely everyone that was part of his criminal enterprise, which has resulted in dozens of other arrests and convictions. Bro didn't want to get murdered in Morocco? Bro's really trying to get murdered in America. Although, isn't it true that the witness protection program's never failed? Or something crazy like that? Like, it's never resulted in someone being killed? Is that true? I've heard that. Is that if that's true, that's kind of crazy impressive.
Sigh.
Thanks to his cooperation, Rothstein's victims were even able to enjoy an unprecedented result. They were able to recoup 100% of their losses, in some cases even with a profit. How? What, did he spend none of the money? Normally in Ponzi cases, the bankruptcy trustee is only able to recover about 5% of the victim's losses. That sucks. In Madoff's case, it was closer to 40%, which was already seen as a truly remarkable feat. But to actually recover 100% of losses was completely unheard of. In fact, if everyone got their money back, some with a return on investment, you may be wondering if this actually counts as a scam. Yeah, I kind of am wondering that. Did he actually put it in, did he actually take that money, not spend it, and put it in actually good investments? And the answer to that is that yes, it still is. The figure 100% of losses only refers to the approved losses. Of the $1.2 billion that was stolen, about $500 million was claimed as losses by the victims. After challenges to those claims, the approved losses came out to less than $200 million. So while recovering that much may have been unprecedented, a lot of people were still scammed out of a lot of money. Despite all of his cooperation, there is no official word on whether Rothstein will receive a reduced sentence. Oh wait, this is still going on? Okay, wait, I thought he got to go into witness protection. But seeing as he's in witness protection, I don't really expect a lot of updates on his current whereabouts. Yeah, he just disappears into the witness protection program. It's probably not even going to prison. He's probably just living in some suburb somewhere in some boring city, doing some boring job. Being holy shit, got away with it. Although he could have been living straight gangster in Morocco. Anyway, that's the end of the episode. Thanks for being here.
Hey, Simon.